I think we are live now. Welcome everyone. We'll wait a couple of minutes for other people to come in. We're going to start shortly. Let me play my cool first slide. Mohammed, hello. Welcome to the webinar. Nasiruddin, hello. Wailin, hello. Nice to meet you, sir. Nice to meet you too. Hello, Jeffrey Rodriguez. Morning, Mark from Markham, Ontario, Canada. Sounds works loud and clear. Thank you so much. Femi, hello from Cybervergent, Nigeria. Nice to be here. Nice to have you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it seems like we have a participants from all regions.
Yeah, that's very good. We have participants from all over the world. From Barcelona, Eugenie. Good afternoon to you. Good morning to me. And some other people. I'll wait just one more minute and then we can get started. Thank you for your patience. Okay, you waited long enough, I guess. Let's get started. So, hello everyone, welcome to today's webinar on very critical and timely topic, understanding Snowflake attacks and their implications. My name is Sensar. I am thrilled to have you all here today. As seasoned cybersecurity professional and researcher with over 15 years of experience, I have witnessed firsthand how evolving threats are challenging our defenses. And today we are diving into the one such sophisticated threat that has been making headlines recently. which is called Snowflake. So before we dive in, let's take a quick look at what we will cover today. We'll start with an overview of what Snowflake attacks are, followed by their mechanism and impact on organizations. We'll also discuss strategies for detection and prevention and conclude with a Q&A session where all address any questions you might have. Feel free to jot down your question as we go along. We will make sure to address them at the end of the session. To set the stage, let's briefly talk about context and relevance of our topic today. Snowflake attacks are form and highly targeted and sophisticated cyber attack that leverage specific vulnerabilities in the system to achieve their objectives. Unlike traditional attacks that are often broad and generalized, Snowflake attacks are meticulously crafted and executed, making them harder to detect and mitigate. Given the increased frequency and sophistication of these attacks, it is critical for cybersecurity professionals, IT managers, and business leaders understand how they operate and what measures can be taken to protect their organization. Once again, thank you all for joining us today. I hope you find this session informative and useful, enhancing your cybersecurity strategies. And let's get started with our first topic. First of all, we need to understand what is a Snowflake attacks are and how they all started. So let's delve into the how Snowflake attack began and referencing a recent article and as you can see, screenshot by the chat actors. This attack is a primitive example of how vulnerabilities can be exposed in seemingly secure environments. As seen in the screenshot, the conversation reveals crucial details about the exploit. First of all, threat actor identified a Snowflake's refresh token did not expire as expected. The refresh token expiration is the set a certain value, but the attacker discovered that these tokens could be reused indefinitely. So by dumping these tokens from a named lift, the attacker could generate session tokens and effectively bypassing authentication mechanisms. The attacker then mentions the ability to bypass Okta on lift on popular identity provider, as you know, and the login via ServiceNow using cookies and password. This indicates that the attacker had found a way to exploit these sessions across different platforms seamlessly. This conversation, as you can see on the screen, highlights several key points. One of them is vulnerability exploitation. The refresh tokens, which are meant to be short-lived, were improperly managed, allowing the attackers to reuse them again and again. The other thing is tool utilization. The attacker used a tool or a script referred to as a lift to dump and generate session tokens. The other things I can undersize is uh, authentication bypass. The attacker could bypass the Okta authentication system and gain access to other services like ServiceNow using the stolen session and credential. This methods of attack underscores the importance of the proper token management and the risks posed by a single point of failure in authentication process. So I want to show you another screenshot. Uh, when you take a look at this screenshot, you can see in this conversation, the attacker describes how they managed to infiltrate the Snowflake systems. The attacker clarifies that the initial point of entry was through a single credential obtained from an infostealer malware. As you know, infostealer malwares play important role nowadays. It is very popular. It can be collected via different sources. For example, if uh, the customer or your employee downloaded the malware to their computer, the info stealer can collect the data from cookie sessions or from the browser, like credentials, passwords, login names, all. So info stealer is the uh, play roles, play a very important role for this Snowflake attacks as well. When we analyze this conversation again, the threat actor purchased an installation from a log stealer, indicating a well-established underground market for such malicious services. The specific log that facilitates the infection was associated with the employees identified as Adalo. It is the name of the employee. This highlights the human element in the cybersecurity breaches, where a single compromised user can lead a significant vulnerability. We used to say, if you remember, human element is the weakest link in the security, and it is still is the weakest link in the security. Also, supply chain, as you can see, actually, there's nothing wrong with the Snowflake security. This is a supply chain attack, and that's why supply chain is also the weakest link in the security. So the conversation further indicates that the attacker had detailed logs from the day of the infection and suggesting meticulous planning and execution. A suggestion was made about purchasing protection from cybersecurity firm named Hudson Rock, which implies that the better security measures could have potentially prevented the breach. I want to show you the attack diagram to better understand the Snowflake attacks. When you take a look at this diagram, you can see that there's an InfoStealer malware deployment. The attack begins with the deployment of the InfoStealer malware on customers on personal devices. This malware is designed to capture sensitive information, including login credentials, which is the most critical part. The other thing is the stolen credentials are then extracted from the info stealer. By the way, you can find lots of info stealer in the dark web, and you can purchase them. You can find a lot of sensitive data in there. So that's what happened in this case as well. These logs are often sold on underground markets, and as we saw in the previous screenshot, um, using the accurate credentials, the threat actors log into the Snowflake customer instance. This step is critical as it grants them unauthorized access to the database. The other thing is you can take a look on the diagram. Once inside, the attackers conduct reconnaissance to identify the valuable data within the database and any connected external storage. The last step in here, as you can see, is the data exfiltration. And finally, the attacker exfiltrates the data, which can then be used for extortion, sold on the black market, or exploited in the other malicious ways. This specific attack's path was utilized by a threat actor group identified by the Mandiant UNC 5537. According to the detailed analysis by Mandiant, this group has been involved several sophisticated cyber theft and extortion campaigns before, and their modus operandi involves exploiting vulnerabilities widely used platforms such as Snowflake to gain the access to sensitive information. So by understanding this attack path, we can identify the key areas where security measures need to be strengthened. And I also would like to share some statistics with you about the Snowflake so we can have a better understanding about these attacks. To illustrate the impact of the Snowflake data breach, let's take a look at some key statistics over the time. As shown in the chart, the number of affected customers has been significantly increased from April to July 2024. The data shows a troubling trend actually. In middle of the April 2024, the breach had already impacted a smaller number of customers. So as far as we know, the first time we heard about the Snowflake was April 14th. And this is also the analysis of the security researchers. So the breach had already impacted. There was only a small number of customers who were affected by the Snowflake. But by May 2024, the number of affected customers had more than doubled. And this growth continued at an alarming rate through the June into the early July 2024. The official numbers suggested that around 170 or 180 organizations were affected by the Snowflake data breach. However, since I'm also a security researcher and we are a cyber threat intelligence company, we know that it is very important to mention about this. The actual number could be much higher, and we believe it is much, much more than higher than the 180. We are thinking like around 400 companies already impacted by this attack. So the unofficial numbers are what much more higher than the official numbers. The true extent of the breach may be even greater, as I told you, highlighting the far-reaching consequences of such incidents. So I have more statistics for you to provide more comprehensive understanding of the Snowflake data breach. Let's examine some additional statistics related to the type of malware used and the security measures or lack therefore within the affected organization. When we analyze this bar on the left side, you can see is the chart illustrates the prevalence of different types of interstellar malware involved in the breach. One of them is the Luma. Approximately 30% of the incidents involve Luma malware, and the other one is the Metastealer. This type of was involved in the 25 of the breaches. The other one is Raccoon, used in about 20% of the cases. There is Redline, which is responsible for around 35% of the incidents. Rice Pro involved in approximately 15% of the cases, and Vidar, the most prevalent, involved about the 40% of the breaches. These statistics highlight the variety of infostealer malware employed by the threat actors, and each contributing to the overall impact of the breach. On the right side, you can see the pie chart, which presents the proportion of accounts with and without multi-factor authentication among the affected organizations. Without multi-factor authentication, which is very alarming, 70, almost 80%, let's say, of the affected accounts did not have multi-factor authentication enabled. With the multi-factor authentication using the only 20% of the accounts had multi-factor authentication, highlighting the significant gap in security practices. We always keep saying with the cybersecurity awareness training programs, you have to back up your data, you have to update your computer all the time, and you have to use strong password, but strong password is not enough to protect you. You have to uh, also use the multi-factor authentication or two-factor authentication as well. So this is a very good example, like basic security steps can maybe protect you. Oh, of course, they cannot protect you 100%. As you can see, 20% of the breaches happened even if they used the multi-factor authentication. But still, we are doing the we are taking the uh, basic step as much as we can. So only one multi-factor authentication cannot protect you. Only strong password cannot protect you. Only very sophisticated malware, not malware, antivirus software cannot protect you. But combining and creating the deep in defense strategy will uh, decrease the potential data breach for your organization. So let's walk through to the timeline of the UNC 5537 campaign targeting Snowflake customer instances. This timeline outlines the key events from the initial access to the public disclosure. It's all started in April 14, 2024. That's the earliest evidence of the access to Snowflake customer instances is recorded, and this marks the initial point of intrusion where the attackers gained unauthorized access. April 17th, this date marks the earliest evidence of the use of Frostbite, a tool or technique utilized by the threat actors to further their campaign. On April 19th, we know that investigation started with the stolen database. This indicates that the breach had already resulted in data theft, prompting an investigation. Um, we know that the Snowflake customers are impacted in multiple ways, and the researchers started investigating the situation, and the discovery highlights the extent of the data breach, revealing that numerous customers were affected. Um, then we know this there's an important step in May 22, I guess, the crucial for coordinating response and initiating the mitigation effort. So after this data breach happens, incident response team immediately takes the matter in their hands and they start the investigation. So around the June, when we come to June, by the way, in May end of the May, I guess, a Snowflake published a statement and guidance for affected customers. This public disclosure is aimed at informing customers and providing steps to mitigate the impact of the breach. A joint statement from Snowflake and the Mandiant and the CrowdStrike is released regarding to the ongoing investigation. Uh, it was June. It was in June. Yeah, the statement was released by this security firms. They investigate the situation with the Snowflake. This collaboration underscores that the serious nature of the data breach and the coordinated efforts are addressed at the same time. So when we analyze the root causes and contributing factors for this attack, the primary factors for us can be categorized into the three main areas. One of them is Stealer logs. I already explained how Stealer logs play a very critical role in this data breach. And to be honest, in many data breaches, info stealer play very important role. That's why it is very critical in cybersecurity. And remote code execution and the phishing, of course, more than 80% of the attacks are established with the phishing tactics and techniques. So stealer logs refer to data capture by info stealer malware. This malware is designed to log keystrokes, capture screenshots, and steal sensitive information such as login credentials. Uh, the the stolen credentials are often sold on the underground market, and which provides with the means to gain unauthorized access to the systems. In the case of Snowflake, compromised credentials played a significant role in the initial breach. And the other thing is remote code execution, RCE, is a type of vulnerability that allows attackers to execute arbitrary code on the target system. This can be exploited to gain control over the system, install malware, and exfiltrate the data. RCE vulnerabilities, as you know, are particularly dangerous as they enable attackers to bypass security measures and directly interact with the target system. In the Snowflake breach, RCE could have been used to deploy additional malware or tools to facilitate the data theft. The other thing is the phishing. As I told you, more than 80% of the attacks established via using phishing techniques. Phishing involves tricking individuals into providing sensitive information, such as username and passwords, by masquerading the trustworthy entity. This is typically done through the deceptive emails or messages or websites. Phishing attacks exploit human vulnerabilities, making them an effective method for obtaining credentials. In the context of the Snowflake breach, phishing could have been a factor for capturing initial access credentials or distributing the info stealer, mostly. So the vulnerability exploitation process in Snowflake data breach can give us also some idea. We fully grasp the complexity and execution of the Snowflake data breach. It's essential to understand the vulnerability exploitation process. This diagram I created for you provides step-by-step overview of how the attackers managed to infiltrate the uh, system and exploited it. So when we take a look to this analysis, let me drink the water very quick. So when we analyze this diagram, we can see that um, the attacks begin with the theft and credentials. We mentioned from the beginning with the info stealer, and often through phishing campaigns, info stealer malware, or purchasing from underground markets. So The stolen credentials are crucial as they provide initial access to the targeting system. And then we have compromised contractor system. Attackers often target the third-party contractors or partners. This is the case in Snowflake as well. This we call it supply chain attack, if you may. Um, we are gonna mention in the next slides if it is the fault of the Snowflake or we can blame the Snowflake. The short answer is no, because this is a supply chain attack, and this is what happened in this attack as well. Compromising these systems allows attackers to use legitimate access path into the primary target, in this case, Snowflake. Um, Malware is deployed on the compromised systems to collect more data, such as additional credentials and session tokens, and InfoStealer malware aids in gathering the necessary information to escalate the privileges and expand access with the network. Using the harvested credentials, attackers perform credential stuffing attacks to gain access to multiple accounts and services with the target organization. This method leverages the reuse of the password across the different platforms, increasing the chances of successful attacks. When we suggest password hygiene, as if you remember, we always say use different passwords for different accounts. This is gonna make harder for threat actors to hack your accounts one at once. So with valid credentials, attackers gain unauthorized access to Snowflake for customer instances, bypassing traditional security measures. This step is critical as it provides direct access to the valuable data stored within the Snowflake instances. Then, when they're in and when they found the valuable data in the system, then what they do is data exfiltration. Attackers systematically extract data from the compromised Snowflake instances, often using automated tools to speed up the process. Exfiltrated data can include sensitive customer information, intellectual property, or other critical business data. The last thing is extortion and data sale on the cybercrime platforms. Usually, this could be dark web, or there are some Telegram channels, Discord channels. They sell the data, which make it easier. As you know, most of the threat actors they use dark web since it is not trackable by the law enforcement agencies. But most of the people they're afraid to go to the dark web. They think the law enforcement agencies or intelligence agencies they're gonna track them if they access the dark web, and uh, it is some sort of criminality going to the dark web. It is not actually. When you access the dark web, there's nothing against the law. But if, of course, if you're doing something illegal, purchasing illegal substances or requiring illegal services in dark web, that is the illegal part. But just accessing and monitoring the dark web, it is not illegal. But most of the people, they don't want to go to dark web and they don't want to get in trouble. That's why chat actors they have to move their operations partly to the Telegram channels or Discord channels. So instead of selling on the dark web, they try to sell this information on the Telegram channels as well. So the impact is this step monetizes the breach of the extended, its impact potentially affecting broader range of the victims as the data is resolved. So when we take a look at this when they analyze the affected industries and sectors, I didn't want to list the name of the companies who are affected by the Snowflake. Even your organization can be on the list. Actually, to be honest, most of the people, even the CISOs, they don't even know if they're affected by the Snowflake or not, because it is not that easy. Because until this time, most of the even technological guys, they didn't know what a Snowflake is, like how they could be affected. So that's why even if the people who have the like most advanced and sophisticated cybersecurity solutions in their organization, there was no way to prevent this attack. Just because to be able to prevent this attacks, you need to uh, had to know about the info stealers. You had to monitor the dark web. You had to have some sort of intelligence before actually this happened. We are going to talk about this, but when we take a look, the industries, without mentioning any company who are affected by this attack, we can see that financial institutions were the most affected sector according to the our investigation with the 25%. The impact on the financial industry is particularly severe due to the sensitive nature of financial data, including customer information, transaction details, and financial records. The other sector most affected is the healthcare sector, with the 20% of the breaches. Compromise healthcare data can include patient records, medical histories, and billing information, posing the risk of potential patient privacy and safety. The other sector highly affected is the uh, manufacturing, technology sectors, education, retail, and they are affected almost 10% approximately. And the other sectors are remaining encompasses various other sectors. These breaches highlight the preserved nature of the threat, affecting the wide range of the industries and origins. This analysis shows us, as you can see on the screen. By the way, there's a poll on your screen which you can fill up. Um, this shows us this particular diagram shows us uh, the Snowflake data breach did not discriminate by any industry. So the widespread impact across the multiple sectors highlights the need for comprehensive cybersecurity measures tailored to specific risk faced by each industry. As you can see, almost all industries are affected by Snowflake. So when threat actors uh, attack your organization, they don't care about which region your organization is, which country, which industry. It doesn't matter for them. The main motivation for threat actors are always the same, which is money. So when I did my investigation, I also try to understand why threat actors choose Snowflake because it is huge, right? It is very uh, imported in the cybersecurity history, I believe, Snowflake. It is different than other cyber breaches, data breaches. So that's why I wanted to analyze deeper about this, and I tried to figure it out, like why the threat actors choose Snowflake. One of them is the popularity and widespread use. So Snowflake is a data warehousing platform widely adapted across various industries for its scalability, easy of use, and also rob robust performance. Sorry. The platform's popularity make it a lucrative target due to the sheer volume of valuable data it stores for numerous high-profile organizations. The other reason I found is the centralized data storage as a data warehousing solution. Snowflake centralizes vast amount of sensitive information, including financial records, customer data, intellectual property, operational data. So compromising Snowflake allows attackers to access the treasure of trove of data from multiple organizations in one fell swoop, amplifying the impact of their efforts. The other reason I found is potential security gaps. Despite its robust security measures, no system in impervious to vulnerabilities, and threat actors are constantly probing for weaknesses in widely used platforms to exploit. The impact behind this is the identifying and exploiting even a minor vulnerability can grant attackers significant access and control, as it can be seen in the data Snowflake breach. Um, And third-party integrations also played a very critical role for these attacks. Snowflake's extensive integrations with the other software and services include various third-party applications and tool increase its attack surface. That's why monitoring and managing attack surface is very critical, very important, which I'm going to mention about this in a couple of slides. The interconnected nature of modern IT ecosystems means that a vulnerability in one platform can be leveraged to gain access to another. So creating multiple entry points for attackers. And as again, this increase the attack surface for the organizations. And of course, data monetization, the data stored within Snowflake is highly valuable on the underground markets where stolen information can be sold or used for extortion. The financial incentives drive attackers to target platforms like Snowflake, where successful breaches can yield significant monetary rewards. In a couple of minutes, I'm gonna also mention about like we try to negotiate with the threat actors for Snowflake, and I'm gonna tell you what we figured out for that. So there's also methods they used for the Snowflake, which we already mentioned, uh, with credential theft and reuse, exploiting the software vulnerabilities, and using social engineering attacks, especially phishing attacks, and leveraging third-party accesses played very critical and very important role. So I already mentioned about those, how they uh, managed the data bridge already. So I'm just gonna pass this section. So earlier I told you if we can blame the snowflake, like if it is a security gap, the reason was a security gap in the snowflake. So this one critical question arising from the snowflake data breach is whether snowflake should be blamed for the incident or not. The short answer is no. However, the answer to this, we need to consider various factors, including the nature of the breach, the responsibilities of the involved parties, and broader context of the cybersecurity practices. So when we take a look, one of them is a complex cybersecurity landscape. The cybersecurity landscape is incredibly complex with the evolving threats and sophisticated attack vectors. Even with the robust security measures, no system is entirely immune to the breaches. We know that for sure. 100% security is not real, and no organization in the world should aim target the 100% security in their organization. So Snowflake, like any other platform, operates in this challenging environment where constant vigilance and adaptation are necessary. There's also another thing is shared responsibility. In cloud services, security is shared responsibility between the provider and the customer, not just the provider. So Snowflake is responsible for security infrastructure while customers must secure their data and manage access control. So effective security requires collaboration between Snowflake and its customers, and failure on either side can lead to the vulnerabilities. The other thing is timely response and transparency. Snowflake's response to the breach include notifying affected customers and collaborating with the security firms, which they did with the Mandiant and the CrowdStrike, that demonstrates a commitment to transparency and resolution. And prompt and transparent communication is crucial for mitigating the impact of the breaches and restoring the trust. So, implementation of the best practices and customer security measures and the nature of the attacks, when we analyze all these ingredients, we can say that uh, there is no need to just blame this Snowflake. As you can see, there are multiple parameters in this case as well. So I like to share some screenshots from the dark web and how where the threat actors publish this data. One of the critical aspects of understanding the Snowflake data breach is knowing where the exploited data ended up. When we explore this, we can see that after gaining unauthorized access to Snowflake systems, the threat actors began exfiltrating vast amount of sensitive data. We believe that which is 4 TB data was exfiltrated from the Snowflake systems. The stolen data was then offered and sold on the various cybercrime forums and dark web markets. Here's a breakdown for you. One of them is bridge forums. This notorious forums is known for facilitating the sale of stolen data. It was one of the primary platforms where the Snowflake data was advertised and sold. Listing on the bridge forums included data from multiple actors, emphasizing the widespread of the bridge. Of course, dark web marketplaces are very popular to sell some sort of data, which is huge. 4 TB is not a small data, as you can imagine. And data from the breach, including personal information and financial records, was frequently listed and sold on the dark web as well. Of course, Telegram channels. The conversation was on Telegram. If you remember, I showed you in the first slide, and I also mentioned like most of the chat actors they're trying to move to the uh, Telegram channels or Discord channels because most of the people are afraid to go to the dark web, so they cannot sell data at dark web as much as they do on the Telegram channels because everybody can easily go to the Telegram channels or Discord channels and can find this data if they want to purchase. So there are possible effects of this incident. You may ask, like, why this Snowflake is very important, why it is so critical. Why did you do a webinar about this particular data breach? Because based on the statistic, there's data breach almost 37, if I'm not wrong, 37 data breaches every day. So impossible for us to follow all data breaches. Like we cannot go and check like what are the 35 data breaches today. Nobody have time for that, right? But some data breaches are much critical and much more important than the other. So when we analyze the impact and possible effects for the Snowflake, we can see that why this particular data breach is much more critical and much more important than the others. Um, as we closely monitor the threat actors and activities related to this incident, we have gathered some exclusive insight for you that are not publicly available. As I told you, we try to negotiate with the threat actors for Snowflake, and I like to share some of my insights based on this investigation and negotiation. We know that there's a massive data exposure. More than 400 million people data were affected in Snowflake. By the way, as I told you, you cannot find these numbers uh, on the publicly available blog post or something. By the way, I'm gonna write a blog post as well with the details in there because I couldn't find these numbers uh, because I did my own investigation and find these numbers and I'm gonna put it on my blog. But as far as we know, 400, 400 millions people data was affected, and as already told you, more than 4 TB data is extracted from the system. First, they try to sell it, the threat actors, they try to sell it for 100,000 K on the black markets and the hacker forums. But we try to do the negotiation with them. They decrease the price for 4,000. So from $100,000, they decrease the amount for the 4,000. The reason behind it because they are desperate to sell this data because Snowflake refused to pay any ransom for this data. That's the reason. Since they couldn't sell this data to Snowflake on the market, even if the price tag is $100,000, easily with the negotiation, we were able to increase the number for 4,000. The other thing I want to mention, that despite the insignificant reduction in asking the price, the inability to secure the anticipated payout means that the threat actors will likely attempt to monetize the data through the other means. Like if they cannot sell it, this data as it is, uh, they can try to other ways to sell it. So we can expect within the next 3 or 6 months, this data will be sold to other malicious actors and leading the surge in phishing attacks in the other cyber criminals. So as the stolen data becomes available to a broader audience of the criminals, since they cannot sell it the price they wanted, so we anticipate the dramatic increase in this phishing attacks in the near future because they have again enormous data. 400 people's data is not something small. So the phishing attacks is gonna increase in the near future. This data provides detailed personal information that can be used to craft the highly convincing phishing emails. Organizations and individuals need to be on high alert and implement robust email cybersecurity solutions to measure. And they have to also, you have to use the awareness training programs to let the people know about the Snowflake. As far as I know, I also talked to a couple of my friends in cybersecurity sector who are the C-level security. They have C-level security positions in their organization. Even they don't know the details about the Snowflake. So that's why we created this webinar to increase the awareness about the Snowflake because it is something that you cannot ignore. It is very important. So the other insights I have for you is the targeting the competitors. The success and the visibility of this breach may encourage the other threat actors to target Snowflake's competitors. These companies could be seen as similar lucrative targets to their large data repositories. So in the near future, there is a high possibility competitors of the Snowflakes is going to be targeted by the threat actors because they saw that with single failure of contact can lead them to huge, enormous data intelligence. The threat, I'm sorry, the supply chain attack, the infrastructure malware attack, there's many things in those kind of attacks. We also mentioned the other parts. So the other threat actors, they saw that attacking some sort of organizations like Snowflake, it's very profitable indeed. So the competitors need to reassess their security postures, the competitors of the Snowflake, and they have to ensure that they have adequate defenses in place to prevent similar breaches in the near future. So last couple of slides. I have 12 minutes more, then I can take some questions. Um, I can suggest you a couple of best practices and security measures. Of course, there's a standard security measures like enable your multi-factor authentication, use a strong password, implement sophisticated antivirus systems. Those are valid for all incidents. Like for each instance, you have to do this basic security measures. You have to take them uh, uh, for any instance to prevent any instance. But to be specific for the incidents, I have a couple of suggestions for you based on my research and investigation. And one of them is, yeah, you need to use the dynamic threat landscape intelligence. Like as I always mention, I used to say we used to have reactive cybersecurity strategy. That means we were only monitoring, which was 10 years ago, maybe. If you guys remember, we were only monitoring the network. If there's an anomaly, when try to figure it out what is this anomaly for and how we can fix it. Then the organizations and the companies, they change their strategy from reactive to proactive. So just sitting and monitoring trafficking for anomaly is not good enough. You cannot prevent the cyber attacks by that. You have to be proactive, which includes the cyber threat intelligence, threat hunting, and awareness programs. Uh, those are included the proactive systems. Right now, we have predictive systems. So just being proactive is not enough. So you have to change your strategy. So I used to work for NATO like a couple of years ago. Even the NATO changed its strategy from the uh, reactive to proactive first. Now they changed proactive to the predictive. That means the intelligence had to give you information about the future, like how the threat landscape is changing, how threat actors change their tactics, and procedures. So that's why if you need to, like, even if you have the best sophisticated cybersecurity solutions in your organization, you couldn't stop this attack, the Snowflake attack, because you had to have intelligence to know about this. Again, most of my friends around me, they don't even know what a snowflake is and if they affected by the snowflake. They don't know about this detail because most of the people still not aware how snowflake case is dangerous and how it could be more dangerous, as I already explained to you. So that's why dynamic threat landscape intelligence is very important. Unseen vulnerabilities, even the most secure system can have undiscovered vulnerabilities. Regular attack surface management helps in identifying and mitigating these hidden attacks. Attack surface management tools can simulate attacks and identify the weak points in your infrastructure, which is very critical and which is very important. This might have been overlooked. Investigating in the dark web monitoring solutions is very critical. This approach allows for immediate action in the case of data exposure and utilizing advanced dark web monitoring services to keep track of any mentions of your organization's data. The other things you can do is adapt to comprehensive attack surface management. Um, Implementing tools and processes that continuously assess and manage your attack surface is very important again. Regularly updating your understanding of the attack surface ensures that new vulnerabilities are quickly identified and addressed. You know the term shadow IT. Shadow IT is a big trouble for security people. So that's why attack surface management can give you a strong hand to prevent the shadow IT attacks or unseen vulnerabilities. So combining traditional measurements with the as I told you, predictive strategies uh, ensure that the dark web monitoring and attack surface management are part of broader multi-layer security strategy of your organization. And these measures should complement traditional security practices like firewall, intrusion detection systems or IPS systems, next generation antivirus on firewalls, and regular employee training, of course, plays very critical role. So if you want to try, SocRadar has a dark web. Maybe we can share the link with the help of my friends. We have labs. Those are free tools for dark web monitoring. You can use our dark web monitoring tool if you wanna take a look. Also, we have free CTI. You can just subscribe for the community edition. You don't have to pay, and you can try the intelligence services if you don't try. Even if you use a cyber threat intelligence service, you can compare the results with the SOC radars and the other services you're using. Those are very important, as I told you, using attack surface management and monitoring the dark web. So you can give it a try with the SOC radar and you can see the results. So thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciated your time. I hope you found this webinar helpful. If there's a question, I can take it since I have 5 more minutes.
Thank you, Ansar. We have come to the end and would like to take a look at the question in the Q&A section before the finish. There's some question on the Q&A section.
Yeah, okay. VPN has a question: how SOC Radar can assist detect and prevent such threat actors? That's a very good question, VPN. By the way, Aaron, could you please also share the free CTI link as well?
Yeah, I
You
already
ordered-
did.
Oh, you ordered it? Okay.
Yeah,
I can see the dark web report, but there should be also maybe. Oh, okay, it's in
I
the.
will post again. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, thank you so much. So that's a very good question, Vipin. So SOCRadar, threat intelligence platforms like SOCRadar can help you to prevent such attacks like Snowflake. As I told you, this is not the um, this incident not happened because of the some security gaps in the Snowflake. It happened for different reasons. And even if your organization, as you saw on the um as you saw on this my diagrams chart parts, even if some organizations they have implemented the two-factor authentication on their systems, they couldn't escape the data breach. So even if you have the most technological and advanced cybersecurity solutions on your organizations, you need the predictive solutions which can let you know there's something going on about this incident, and you have to take some measurements before anything happened, which there's a cyber threat intelligence organizations comes in, and in this case, actually, SOCRadar was able to capture the conversations between the threat actors. This is one thing. Other thing, most of the people they don't know if they're using Snowflake technology or not. So still, most of the organizations, when I talk to some of our customers, they don't even know they're affected by the Snowflake or not. So with the a simple search in our database, we call it threat hunting, you can find your organization is using Snowflake or not. So this is another thing how SOCRadar can help you. Dark web monitoring, we have an entire and dedicated dark web team. They constantly monitor the surface web and the dark web for the forums, chat channels, um, um, Telegram channels, Discord channels. Those are something not easy to monitor. Like most of the organizations, they don't have budget, they don't have people to do that. So other thing is monitoring dark web and getting intelligence from dark web. How threat actors changing their techniques and tactics and procedures, which is very critical and which is very important. Those insights can give you a better understanding to prevent future attacks. This is how Socrates can help. And most importantly, um, as I told you, you have some unseen vulnerabilities. There's shadow IT as well. Um, the attack surface management of the SOC radar can help you to prevent further attacks and can let you know there's a blind spot in your organization. You have to take security measures as soon as possible to prevent the future attacks. That's a very good question, Vipin. Thanks so much. Mark, appreciate it. Great review and knowledge sharing. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today, Mark. So the Vipin has another question. Any IOC is released in official website of the Snowflake official website? As far as I know, no. The answer is no. There's no official IOCs on the Snowflake's website. Peter, have a drop for another meeting. Excellent presentation and information. Thank you. Peter, thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate it for your time. Uh, there is not any other question as far as I can see. So, oh, there's here Q&A. Sorry, there's the Q&A part. Okay, sorry, I missed the Q&A part. I was checking the chat. So Jeffrey Rodriguez, what has been the most recent and well-known supply chain attack from this past couple years? This is a very good question, Jeffrey. One of them was SolarWinds, if you remember, like most of the federal departments in the United States were affected by the SolarWinds because they were using the SolarWinds as a cybersecurity solution. So the Russian threat actors, instead of attacking, for example, Department of Defense in the United States, they find a different strategy. They attack um, the uh, SolarWinds and they hacked they were able to actually, maybe hacking is a wrong word, but they were able to exfiltrate the data of the most of the federal departments in the United States, Department of State, Department of Defense, Department of Education. So that was the one huge supply chain attack. I remember there was a one Swift attack. There was a one bank in Hong Kong, I guess. The other was in the New York or Philippines. I'm sorry, Philippines Central Bank and New York Central Bank. And Philippines Central Bank has some account in the New York Federal Reserve. Okay, they put some money to New York, and the both banks, both are federal reserves, and they protect it very well, right? So instead of hacking those banks, hackers try to hack the Swift system. So there's a one system between the banks all over the world, which is called Swift. Maybe you already know. So what the hackers did, they didn't attack the New York Federal Reserve. They didn't attack the Philippines Central Bank. They attacked the Swift system. So they sent some transaction orders to the Federal Reserve of the New York about the Philippines account. They send this money to this account, send this money to this account from the Swift. So with the couple of transactions, like the Federal Reserve to New York, they got suspicious. They said this is not usual. They contact directly with the Philippines Central Bank. They said, why you guys are sending this money to for different accounts? This is not normal. And they told the New York Federal Reserve, this is not us. This is someone else. Then they realized there's a security breach in the SWIFT system. So you see how the threat actors are smart. They trying to find the easiest way to hack the systems. That was the other biggest one I remember. Can you share the slide after the meeting? I think I'm gonna write sharing slides is not easy. So thank you for the questions because they have to get the presentation from me. They have to distribute it to the all attendees. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna write a blog about this Snowflake. You can just read my blog. You're gonna find all this information in there. So let's say I answer this live. Marcelo, unfortunately, I had issues to connect. So are we able to see this session later or on demand? The material will be shared. I already respond this. You can read my blog to get the details. Thank you for the question. Rafael, if it is possible to estimate how much time is needed for someone to buy and use credentials from dark market when they are published, in the other words, when stolen credentials are appearing on the dark market, how much time do we have to take actions? This is a very good question, actually, Rafal. You don't have much time. That's why you need constantly monitor the dark web. Even the phishing site, for example, some people are telling me I don't need threat intelligence. I'm using I subscribe to Have I Been Pwned website. And if my data is breached, they're gonna let me know. That's for sure. Yeah, they're gonna let you know. But there's no fresh data in there. Like if I want to do the phishing attack to your organization, right? I'm gonna purchase a fake domain, create a website, and I had to do this in a couple of hours. Okay, I don't have much time. Like I don't have a couple of days. Same thing goes for the info stealer as well. I don't have that much time, like a couple of hours or couple of weeks. So this is very highly volatile. The dark web market, the people they put the data in there, they sell it immediately. So you have to have someone on the ground. You need the boots on the ground. They constantly monitor if there's something in there. They have to immediately contact the seller and try to get the information. They have to make sure the data is fresh because most of the time there that could be the fresh. Sometimes they try to con people. Of course, the data is not fresh. So what we do is even if your organization's data is on the dark web, we had to make sure as a first step it's the fresh data. So we ask for samples, we communicate, we tell them not to sell to anyone else. We are on it. We are gonna pay them out. So this is very short time. Yeah, you don't have that much time, that's for sure. That was a very quite good question. Maybe a couple of hours, the time you have. So Jeffrey, did this bridge occur since the tokenization wasn't properly configured or the configuration wasn't tested properly? Actually, a little bit both, Jeffrey. That was a very good question indeed. Thank you so much for this question. As I mentioned, there are not only one parameter, there are a couple of parameters. The reasons you mentioned are both valid for this case as well. At the same time, the info stealer, like downloading info stealer to the machine is another reason they stole some cookie sessions as well. So yeah, both are valid. That was a very good question, actually. So Vipin Kumar, as you mentioned, be predictive rather than reactive or proactive. I want to know how we can predictive what all the parameters to assess or evaluate. This is also a very good question. Vipin, I already mentioned to be a predictive, you have to closely monitor how threat actors and threat landscape is changing, right? You have to closely monitor the threat actors, what they do, what are the new techniques, tactics, and the procedures. So based on the information, for example, today I share some insight with you, right? I told you there will be more phishing attacks. The phishing attacks is going to increase very soon because they couldn't sell the data the with the price tag they wanted. They asked for $100,000, but they couldn't sell it because Snowflake refused to pay it. So they are gonna sell this information to someone, right? They have to make money because of this thing. So they have a very 400 million people's data, which is very high, and they have to sell this information and get the money. And the threat actors, they're gonna use this personal information uh, that means they're going to be crafted. We call it spear phishing, if you remember, which is specifically crafted for you or your organization phishing attacks. So we're going to see the increase the spear phishing attacks in the near future. This is a prediction, right? This is my prediction based on my experience, my investigation, my research. So this is how you can be predictive. It is not easy for everyone to go to their own research because I have a team. I'm not doing this research by myself. I have a dark web team. I have a, intelligence team. I have a researcher team in my organization in Socrates. So I get information from them. Then I do my own investigation and I bring the webinar to you. So this is how you can be predictive, but this is not easy. That's why you need to use threat intelligence. We can provide you this uh, prediction for the future. That was a very good question. Thank you. Beatrice Demota, how can you best ensure control over your attack surface? So attack surface, as I told you already, important for a couple of reasons. One of them is shadow IT. The other one thing is unseen vulnerabilities. Most of the people they use some sort of technology in their websites, and they have many websites, and they don't even know. For example, if you guys remember Log4j vulnerability, most of the people they didn't even know they used Log4j technology in their website. So attack surface management plays critical role in these cases and tell you Like, um, can tell you uh, there is one blind spot, or there is one unseen vulnerability in this assets of your organization, and you have to take an action. And there's also one other thing, for example, marketing department, right? They purchase a domain for your organization, and uh, they do the promotion with that domain address. But as a security department or IT department, you are not aware of this domain address or the operations, what the marketing department does. What happens since you don't know this website is belong to you? Uh, Marketing department do the promotion, but later on they attack this website because, as I told you, threat actors they always keep looking for the weakest link. And since this website is created by the marketing department, there are not enough security measures. So what happens? They can access and this websites created by the marketing department, and they can use this against your organization. So if you don't want to miss this blind spot as well, you need to use attack surface management for sure. Vipin, thank you so much. I appreciate your questions and active involvement. That was very good for me. Emmanuel, awesome presentation. You are awesome, Emmanuel. Thank you so much. Attila, how do you secure your Socrates platform? There's a very good question. Since I am the uh, CISO of Socrates as well, I don't know if you knew already I was the CISO of Socrates or not. That was a very good question. This is a very long, there could be very long answer for this, but to be short, instead of based on my own experiences or my own background, I prefer to follow international standards and regulations. For example, ISO 27001 or SOC 2, Type 1, Type 2, or NIST cybersecurity framework, or just controls. So these international standards and regulations are not created by accident, like thousands of experts, professionals, researchers get together and they created this frameworks and standards for us. So what I do for Socrates as well and for other organizations I worked as a CISO, I follow those standards, international standards and procedures. So they tell me step by step what to do and how to do. Because I used to be head of the red team before I was the CISO of Socrates, we were doing some tests to some organizations. What I saw that if the security architecture of the organization created by the security by the CISO's personal experiences and background, they put so many sophisticated and countermeasures to one part, but the other parts are not that secure. So what we did is we entered the organization, access the organization from the weakest links. So if you follow the international organizations and those frameworks, they're gonna tell you every weak spot in your organizations. So you don't have to put so many efforts in one place and leave unattended the other places. So my biggest advice is to you when you create a security architecture in your organizations, when you try to secure your platform or your organization, you need to follow the international standards and procedures. Dionata, good morning. Congratulations on the presentation. Thank you so much, Dionata. Do you have information on the countries that were affected by the incident? Oh, that's very good question indeed. I don't, unfortunately. I didn't wonder which uh, country is affected most. Probably United States, I believe. But no, I don't have that information. I thought industry would be much more interesting than the countries, but you're right. Maybe I can do a research and put it on my blog. Is there any way where Socradar is working in collaboration mode, which not search? So we are collaborating with the CERTs already. Yuan, if you are with the CERT, please contact us. We are eager to connect with the CERTs already. We are the member of first.org. We are also collaborating with the CISA in the United States, and we are collaborating with other certs as well, with a couple of certs. We give them information, they give us information. So please contact us. You can either contact me with my email, my first name and the last name, first name dot last name at Socrates.io. If you are working for the cert, yeah, we are eager to collaborate with the certs. Muavia, great presentation and information. Thank you so much. Where can we find your blog? If you follow me on the LinkedIn, please follow me on the LinkedIn. If you search Ensar Seker, you can find me. I'm gonna post my link of my uh, blog on the LinkedIn. Jeffrey, would companies who experience a data breach can be sued for their neglect of securing data? Oh, this is a very good question indeed. So this is how it works, Jeffrey. You can not sue the organization for data breach, but since there are some authorities in different countries, for example, in the European Union, there's GDPR, right? In the United States, there's a California privacy law. So you can apply those organizations, those authorities, like your data is breached because of this company, and they can take an action. As far as I know, I'm not a lawyer. Please consult with the lawyer because I'm not a lawyer. I don't know for sure. But since I am the data protection officer in Socrates, I know a little bit about this. What can I suggest you? As far as I know, you cannot apply to court to get to sue this organization who caused the data breach of your personal or sensitive information, but you can apply those organizations, for example, as I told you, uh, privacy protection authorities. You can tell them your data is breached because of the organization. They're gonna give penalty to these organizations, and the money they get it from them, they're not gonna give to you. They're gonna get it by themselves. So there's no directly suing, as far as I know. Thank you. Vipin, when can we expect the next webinar? So what we do try to do, Vipin, we do a webinar once in a month. We try to do that. So the next one is going to be very soon, I believe, because we did the AI workshop. If you were able to join, that was the part one, and now we want to do the part two. So there will be another workshop very soon, and we want to keep the webinars keep going. Thank you so much. Marcus, how can Socrates help us on our journey to NIS2 compliance? Wow, I was really surprised by this question, Marcus, to be honest, just because most of the people they don't know about the NIS2, which is a very important and critical compliance created by the European Union. Since I work for the European Union Commission, I work as a expert, a cybersecurity expert for funding the projects uh, submitted with the old name Horizon 2020, if you remember. So I also work for European Union as a trainer for the CPOL, law enforcement agencies. So that's why I closely work with the European Union Commission. That's why I'm the one of the guys who closely monitor European Union new regulations. And they are the best, to be honest, in the world, like creating regulations, standards. The European Union take this very seriously. We can understand from the GDPR. And NIS2 is very critical and very important. That's how Socrates can help for NIS2. It cannot help you directly. It is not a compliance product after all, but it can give you the Again, attack surface, for example, with the attack surface management, like what technologies you have and how you can follow this with the NIS2 regulations. The answer if answers your questions. By the way, that was also a very good question. Most of the people they don't even know what is NIS2. Um, the short answer is like there's no directly help for NIS2 because we are not a compliance product, but indirectly it can help with the attack surface management. All right, Vipin, how can organizations use SOC radar when implementing their IR plans? That's a very good question. Again, but the answer is not easy. What I can suggest you, we can do this for a webinar maybe, because this is not easy to response. Uh, as I told you, hocam bitireyim ondan sonra.
Where's Mama?
Just give me a minute, okay? I'm gonna finish this. Of course, if Socrates, I can, as you can understand from its name, is created. This is my son, by the way. It's created. It was created for the SOC teams mostly creating the incident response plans, just because it help you to uh, give you more insights about the threat actors, how they change it. That's how it can help. Like when you create the incident response, you need to understand how threat actors acting. Their techniques, tactics, and procedures are very important and very critical. Otherwise, your plans, response plans are not gonna work if you don't know the threat landscape or if you don't know the threat actors very well. So threat intelligence can help you when you create the realistic incident response plans. So I finished the Q&R session. Let me go to the chat very quickly. I know I extended my time, but if you had to leave, please leave. I'm just staying with the people who wants to stay and ask questions because I love questions. They're very challenging for me, and that means you are getting involved. That also motivates me for the next webinar. Thank you so much. Maybe you already know the answer for some questions, I know, but you want to ask it anyway, just because you want to get involved or encourage me. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. So could you please share your PPT which you prepared if possible? Yuan, is there any way where Socrates is working in collaboration mode with not search? I already answered this. Ahmad says Snowflake is being targeted due to its popularity. As a customer, I can certainly utilize the threat hunting features. However, sometimes we don't know what we have if it is shadow IT. You are right, Ahmad. It would be great if Socrates had features to monitor the most popular SaaS applications for its customers. Actually, we do that, Ahmed. If you are a customer, as a customer, yeah, you said customer, we are monitoring the SaaS applications as well. If you don't know how, please contact us. We can show you how. Vipin, thank you, Ansar. Thank you so much, Vipin. You were very active today. I appreciate your questions and comments, of course. Eugene, lovely family moment. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Eugene. Mark, IT support is just interrupted the webcast live. I love it. Thank you so much, Mark. Appreciate it. Jeffrey, very educational presentation. Jeffrey, you are also very active. Thank you so much. It is encouraging and very good for me, challenging for me. I appreciated your questions and comments. Marks, I just did a free dark web scan from Socrates. How do action the results? Yeah, usually what so what happens actually, Mark, the intelligence services usually, especially if you're using them for free, they give you the provide intelligence, but they don't tell you what to do exactly. So this is because you can understand like from the intelligence services as well. For example, if a country has an intelligence agency, that intelligence agency usually they don't operate. They provide the intelligence to the president or the people who are in charge, and the people who are in charge, based on the intelligence, take actions. So with the dark web report, on the report, it doesn't say like take these actions. Instead, it's just telling you the information on the dark web. So it is your decision, or it is your action how to move forward based on this information. But if you want to know how to move forward with this information, you don't know, and you need a support for this, the Socrator has a um, professional services category. With professional services, we have a team. That team is going to tell you exactly what to do with this information and how to do. Thanks for the response on the dark web scan results. Should we run this type of report yearly or every month? Monthly would be better, of course. Yearly is going to be too much. As I told you, the dark web is a very active place. The data breaches, conversations actively comes and goes immediately. So it would be better if you do it maybe weekly, but yearly is not, of course, not yearly. So good evening from the Philippines. I am not really directly working related to cybersecurity, but I consider this as an important issue nowadays. Maraming salamat. Thank you so much, Luis. I appreciate it. I will run the dark web scan report weekly. Thank you. Thank you so much, Margaret. If you have any questions, please let us know. We can help you. We are here to help you. So thank you so much for everyone for joining me today, acting active questions involving, as I told you, that means a lot to me. It encourages me for the next webinars and do my investigations deeper and bring you interesting stuff as I try to do it for previous webinars. So thank you so much again for joining me today. I hope to see you guys for the next webinar. Thank you, Lo. You have a great week as well. Take care, guys.
Thank you, Ansar. Thank you all for joining us today. We hope you found the session informative and engaging, and your participation and questions were fantastic and really added value to our discussion. At the end of the webinar, a survey will appear on your screens. Your participation in the surveys is very valuable to us. And if you have any further questions or need any additional information, please don't hesitate to contact us. And stay safe. Thank you for all again.